So, talking about the second album and possibly the third. With
well, come on.
You're giving
us a chance even for the third. I think most wouldn't. Many would write us off. Well, the second, if we get it, it should be good. I understand it.
Are you under pressure at the moment?
I'm under more pressure than I've ever been in my whole life, mainly because what happens is that in the 1980s, 1970s, record companies went to excess with their record contracts. Spent lots of money on their artists and didn't recuperate the money back. They would sign artists with 3 album deals and 5 album deals, and not a lot would they get a penetration back of the money that they'd stipulated for them. Okay? And at the same time, the last 10 years, we've seen the advent of downloading, which takes a lot of record sales away from bands and from the record industry. So the record industry itself is in a time of flux, it's in a time of recession. They don't want to pay out big money on the Mariah Careys anymore because they've wasted money on them. And at the same time, they don't want to take big risks on new talent because they don't think the new talent will recuperate the money. And at the same time, we've got downloading going on, taking vital money away from the record companies and the industry itself. But I do agree with downloading.
Yeah.
So you're in a period where record companies now can only sign bands for 1 or 2 albums at a time. Razor Light's first deal was a 2-album deal. Our first record deal was just a 1-album deal. We had to achieve a certain amount of sales to be able to go and achieve our target for the second album. At the moment, I think we've done about 27,000 records in the UK. I've got about 13,000 records to get. It looks like I'm going to hit my target. My record label, hopefully, if we can hit the target. At the same time, the record industry showed some faith in me from our particular group. A lot of groups on my label have been dropped of recent times, but luckily we've been kept on. So fingers crossed, because we've been kept on at the moment, we're going through a state of transition where we're just writing the second album, what's all written, getting the songs down, delivering the tracks, and fingers crossed sometime in September, October, we'll be securing the second album deal. And hopefully have a second album out sometime in the new year. But this is all what we discussed by my lawyer.
I still want to talk about it though, because I'm interested in your direction.
What, for the second album? Yes.
I mean,
it's certainly a more reflective album, and at the same time as being reflective, it's an album that sort of, for me, reflects on subject matter that I didn't discuss in the first album. You can't do, this is the Ball Mark II, you can't do a Lackey Mark II or a Stan Bowles Mark II or a William Mark II. You've got to take the listener to a new perspective and a new place, and also look at parts in your own life and your own time that you haven't reflected on. So in this new album, I've tried to tackle different subject matter from the first, but at the moment it's all very hush-hush. That's about as much as I can tell you.
Okay, well, I mean, you're very politically outspoken.
I should say in this interview alone, I've covered some pretty difficult topics, I think.
Yeah. Would you ever see your music taking off in that direction, or do you think that's just
well, the thing is,
strictly for the
thing is, I'd like to think that my music could influence things. Maybe turn into Bono, bit of moonlighting as like Coldplay. But to be honest with you, I think it's like a crass idea. I think you can only put suggestions to people. We're not a pressure group. We're not a political party. We don't have any power. What we do have is power of suggestion, and that's a quite considerable power. And I'd like to think that I suggest things, I make people think in the lyrics that I put forward in the first album and in the second album, and it makes people think to maybe be involved with pressure groups, be involved with political parties, and maybe try to change things themselves. I can only suggest.
So your music, obviously you've always been interested in music, but now your music is also a vehicle for direction.
I would say so. I would say the amount of people that went out and bought this for the poor and lacking is only a testament of how much people agree with the situation that I propose.
Yeah, and time again, people like the music, but people really love the ethos. You know, they love being part of something. They love the fact that you're doing something in
Well,
this way.
at least we've come across as having ideas of being radical. Whether that will secure us a second or third album, I don't know.
Well, this
At
is
least
the sad times.
and at least we're honest, at least we're true. That's the main thing.